So we went out and we did our own time lapse to test this feature out. The first thing you'll notice when you pair this with the iPhone and you go to the time lapse setting is you get to create the path. So what you can do using this little thumb dial here, you can move this unit around and then hit add to create a path. You can then move it to the next point and hit add to create another path. And again, and hit add. We did 4 points just to show you what was possible with this thing. Now we can go to setup. Now here you have the option to ramp the speed of the pitch and the yaw. For this video, we turned speed ramping on. Now down below that, there are many more options to set up this time lapse. Keep in mind that we do not have the correct firmware to make this work with the GH5, so we didn't really worry about that, but the target clip length we set to 10 minutes. So that means the motion that we've created, we want it to take 10 minutes to complete. So as you can see, our finished time lapse here is certainly not the most impressive time lapse, but it does show you the power of this unit, and I really do appreciate that they included these features completely for free. I'm not sure I'm going to be using the time-lapse feature for this that often, but it's nice to know that it's included in the box. Since we're talking about the iPhone app, let's talk about a few other things that I really appreciate. Pairing this with the unit itself is super simple. I also love the fact that it shows the battery life of the unit right on the front screen. Some of the other units don't tell you how much battery life is left, and that can be really, really frustrating. On the right side here, we can click the remote control button and you can slide your thumb around in the app to control this thing with really nice precision. It does work really, really well. One thing that I think you're definitely going to want to do the second you get this out of the box is go down here to settings and go all the way down to the bottom. You're going to see follow speed and control speed. When this is set to high, if you move this around, this thing really jerks a lot. And I do not like fast movement when I'm using a gimbal at all. So I set both of these to low, and then as you can see, as I move this thing around, it's a much more realistic, smooth movement. And when you're using the thumbstick to control this thing, and you stop moving, it has this nice fade in and fade out of motion. A lot of the other gimbals that I've used, they are smooth while they are moving, but the second you remove your thumb from the control stick, it's this abrupt stop. Now, let's say you hate using iPhone app. I love the fact that this comes with its own remote as well. So if you don't want to deal with the iPhone app, you don't have to. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on and see how this works. I'm just gonna hold the power button. This thing has an LCD on it, which also tells you the battery life of the unit and this little remote control. I absolutely love that. And instantly, without having to do any sort of pairing or anything whatsoever, it just works. It's so nice to know that you don't have to deal with any sort of Bluetooth pairing. It's just going to work the second you turn it on. Now, you certainly can't do everything that you can do with the iPhone app with this little remote, but you can do much more than I would have expected. The two most important features that you're going to have to use an iPhone with are actually on this device. So if I hit the speed button here, you can actually change how quickly this thing reacts to your motion. And again, I hate when it's fast like that. It just looks so bad. But I can put it down to low, and then it becomes nice and smooth, realistic motion. I can also change the mode with this. If you forget how many times to click the button with your thumb on the back of the unit, you can hit the options button and we'll actually tell you, you can just read it here. Right now it's on all lock. So if I move all around, you can see the camera's not moving at all. I'm going to hit the option button again. Now it's on yaw. So if I move right to left, it will follow me, but it will not follow me up and down. I'll click option again. Now it says pitch. So you can see it's going to do that, but it's not going to follow my right and left movement. And I'll hit it again, and now it's pitch and yaw. So it's going to follow my wrist movement the entire time. Now, I don't know how often I'm going to need to use this remote. I personally don't like the two-handed gimbal system. I love how small the one-handed gimbal system is. However, I just really appreciate that they threw something like this in the box, and I'm sure that over the life of me using this product, I will use this remote occasionally. Something else that you can do with this remote, if you have the correct cable and firmware for your camera, you can actually start and stop recording with this remote. And if you have a Canon camera, apparently you can pull focus, which is pretty crazy. So you could have somebody holding this and actually using their thumb to control the camera movements, and then you could have somebody with this remote with a monitor actually pulling focus. That's such an insane feature for something that only cost $5.99. Now, earlier we were talking about time-lapse and how this unit currently doesn't have the updated firmware to work with the GH5. However, you can start and stop recording using the button on the back here or the button on the remote control with this camera as long as you have the USB cable plugged in. That can be really handy because now you only need one hand to operate the entire unit. Now, many of the other gimbals that we've tested, including our most favorite, the Crane, could only hold less than 4 pounds. This one can actually hold 5 pounds. So this is significantly more powerful than many of the other gimbals